I kind of decided that I wanted to release the song on my, like, because I released it on my 20th birthday. Like, my whole life I've had this thing about, like, aging and, like, falling behind, and I just wanted to, like, kind of say, like, fuck you to, like, all of my, like, self-doubt. I've kind of protected myself in a way by not releasing music up until this point, up until I felt like I was really ready. But in other ways, you know, I look at some of my other friends who have, you know, done it, you know, prior, like, a couple years prior even, and gone, oh, like, I'm not there, or everyone has their own, like, journey. Like, comparison is literally, it'll kill you. Like, it's just so unproductive. 1,000 listeners is, like, worlds better than 1 million passive streams of people that who aren't actually invested in you as an artist, and who, you know, maybe your song goes viral on TikTok and then within a week the trend's over, and then what are you going to do? You're always going to be known as the, you know, XYZ girl.
And so, in I think positive news, Cam.
Yep.
Cameron, who is Stella on this input, has is picking up an audio input. No, neither you nor I are having any audio input show up.
Well, that's good because
when we speak,
we did mute our phone inputs.
Yeah, so this is going to avoid the hopefully the issues of last time.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. And my new name is Cameron.
Yes. So Cameron, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, no, it is.
You don't meet many female Camerons. Right?
No.
Cameron Diaz is, I guess, the most famous.
And she's blonde too, so we're on the right track.
The shoe fits 100%.
Saw a Netflix film with her in it the other day. Quite good.
Right.
Oh, what's it called?
Back in Action. It's her and Jamie Foxx.
Oh my God, you know what Cameron Diaz movie I love?
Shrek.
The Holiday. Yes. The Holiday. That's my favourite Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, I have
Jude
seen
Law.
that one. That's Jude Law, Jack Black.
Kate Winslet.
Cameron.
Dream Team.
Yeah.
Eamon is famously shocking with movies. I'm also not great, but I am at
like
least
with watching movies?
having seen films.
Seen them.
Yeah.
Even just watching things generally, and like at all. I get in trouble quite regularly for it.
Right.
But getting better. Jade and I we're into season 3 of Suits, which is I don't usually reach season 3.
Okay.
So that's something. Like,
Are you liking it?
Yeah, dude. It's good. It's just like something to turn your brain off to.
Yeah, I've watched Suits. It's pretty good.
Which is good.
It gets very repetitive.
It does. I think I watched the first two seasons, and then I didn't watch any further.
I feel like every episode becomes the same. Like, there's a new problem. They solve the problem.
And then Harvey yells at Mike, and
there's always stuff like there's always a drama. There's like a few storylines that carry out throughout the season, but most of the episodes drama is something new. Okay, we've resolved it. Oh, now this law firm's doing this thing. Okay, we've solved it.
Yeah, I've noticed
happening over here.
Mike's kind of always just arguing with a different woman as well. Like every episode, he's just arguing with a different
it's
woman
like a power
in his
dynamic.
life. And I just look at it and I'm like, you guys, particularly with, what's her name? Meghan Markle? I can't remember her name. I'm the one watching. I can't remember her name.
I've seen it
Yeah, wow.
Anyway, they shouldn't be together. They argue a lot, and they're not even together. They're constantly arguing. So you can only imagine when they're in a relationship, they'd be arguing way more. So why are you guys trying to be...
So you do know that spoiler.
Why are you guys trying to be together? Well, I know they've just got in a relationship.
Right.
Where I'm at. And I'm like, this is not going to work. You spent the last 2 seasons arguing with one another and you weren't even together. So,
but was it... because there's like fun bickering, flirtatious
banter.
Arguing. Yeah, banter. Yeah. And then there's the...
Yeah, this is more... Rachel, that's her name.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel. This is more just... It's like, chill out, guys. You guys need to maybe work on yourselves a bit. I don't know. But... Are
we a music a movie and TV review podcast now?
We'd have a very short episode run with me on that.
I think we've shifted. Yeah.
What have you been watching, Stella Hannagan, who joins us right now on the podcast?
Hello, I'm not Cameron. My name's Stella. What have I been watching? I just watched this show on Netflix called Adolescence. It's crazy. It's like 4 one-take episodes.
Ooh.
And it's about, they're like 50 minutes.
One
it's about,
take?
Crazy. Well, not one take, sorry, one shot, but they do like 10 takes. But it's like all like the 50 minutes they shoot for the entire time, and they'll be like following all the characters. It's really
I
well
love
done.
that sort of cinematography.
Yeah. And it's about this like 13-year-old boy who like gets basically accused of murder, and just like the effect it has on the family, and just you follow the detective, and like there's this one episode where he's like, it's just like 50 minutes of him and a child psychologist. Like it's really good. I recommend. It's confronting though.
Yeah, my mate was telling me about this, and he was like, he was like nearly crying. I was like, well, it's quite confronting at times. And I was like, okay.
No, it is, because I made my parents watch it too, because I was just like, it's really good. And like as a parent, it's, I think, extra confronting. But yeah, it's really good. Would recommend.
Okay. Cam? We're doing the round table.
Other than Back in Action, the film I mentioned at the start, I don't know. We binge what we're just sort of like in rotation. My wife and I, like our comfort comedy shows. So we'll rotate between The Office, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Parks and Rec, Modern Family, and we'll just sort of rotate through them, and then we get through the end of the cycle. And my wife's ready to watch The Office again. And I'm like,
Yeah.
like, I love The Office, but I've now, I think, watched it through 3 times. I was maybe I need a break. I want to watch Severance, but I'm too cheap to pay for Apple TV.
Oh my God. How did I not mention Severance?
What's Severance?
You've been watching it?
Yes. It's one of the best things I've ever seen.
Severance is what feels like 2025's Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay. It's got that
like,
energy.
Apparently it's very good. Lots of people. In an era where everyone's on, like, it's not just network TV, where everyone's watching the same shows at the same time every week. Severance seems to have this sort of big pull.
Wow.
Yeah, massively. It's amazing. It's so detail oriented, so well done. Like
Ben Stiller directed it.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they have a podcast as well where they like break down every episode.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's really good.
Yeah. It's basically you switch off, like, your work life and your home life are not connected or overlapped in any way.
Yeah,
is the premise based
the procedure,
on the
like you literally don't remember.
You have a surgery.
Your work life, and then you have a completely separate like self that's like in the real world, like at home and not at work. It's wild.
Shit.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That does sound very interesting, actually.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I'm dying to watch that, but again, too cheap to pay for Apple TV.
I will literally give you my password because like you need to watch
it. That's generosity.
And Ted Lasso is also very good.
Oh my God, yeah.
So wholesome.
So wholesome.
Yeah, I got nothing to offer on that one. I'm sorry, guys. That's me. I've exhausted everything.
What are you watching?
I Suits. That's literally it.
Suits, yeah.
That's all. One thing we've been listening to redirect us is Stella Hannagan's debut single. It's called The House, but it's probably not the best place to start realistically with you, because we spoke to you in... Let's guess the year.
Oh my
2019.
God.
I think we'd had enough time to prepare for this interview that we could have.
Yeah, it must have been
at when we first.
It was
2021. I want to say.
Was it post-COVID? It was.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, oh my God.
In between the COVIDs, or was it post the COVID?
I think it was in between.
It was in between.
Yeah.
So 2021 feels right. Yeah. That's wild.
Because I remember the venue that we did all that at.
Yeah.
Copped a bit of flack from the second round of COVID.
Yes.
Oh,
and now it's no more.
Is there no more?
It's no more. Yeah. I don't know how much venue chat we can get into on this podcast. We can cut it if not. But basically...
we've talked enough about movies and TV.
I suppose it's just got... Yeah, anyway. It was a Glass Onion in Longevity.
I don't think they necessarily attended the COVID march, but one of the cafes across the road or next door or in the area went, and they sort of voiced their support for it.
Oh, was it something
is like how that? I remember it. But maybe they did attend the anti-lockdown protests.
It all seems a bit strange now that we've got some distance from it.
Yeah, when you look back on it with some distance, yeah.
It feels like a dystopian movie. Literally crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had sorry, we won't be talking about you, Stella, but just a funny story.
Fine. I don't want to talk about me.
We went for a surf one time, like after work during COVID lockdowns, and it's just the most bizarre memory.
I'm not included in this we, just to clarify.
Yeah, sorry.
You said we as if you and
No, Cam and I were surfing.
I was not invited to the surf event.
This was after work one day, and then we had a surf, which was allowed. Then afterwards, we went and kind of like parked up by the lagoon and had a couple of beers, which wasn't allowed. And like, it was just like a Friday arvo. It was a normal day. And then like the cops rolled up and we were all just like scram, and everyone got in their car and just drove away really quickly. And then
that feels so surreal.
How strange. Yeah, like we couldn't even just hang out.
It was like you were 16 at a house party. Like shit.
And your parents pull up.
Literally. It was so, just when I think about that's the marker in my head. I'm like, that was a strange time.
Crazy.
But anyway, you joined us at the Glass Onion, as it was known at the time, for a chat. You were at that time performing as part of as Ruby and Stella.
Yeah.
With Ruby Archer from the Central Coast as well.
Yeah, she's amazing, dude.
Fantastic.
One of my best friends.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And like, to have watched how both of you are developing musically, it's like insane. The talent that was contained in that room at that time. And we saw it. But since...
Because I guess 2021, which is 4 years ago now.
Shit.
Bonkers. Because how old are you now?
I'm 20.
You're 20. So you're only 16.
Yeah, I was 16.
I do remember you being young.
Yeah.
Like, and just, as I mentioned, like the talent that we witnessed as well between the pair of you. And
we had lots of fun playing gigs together around the coast. It was really nice. It was kind of like my first introduction to that world as well. And then we both kind of started playing solo as well. And, you know, she's with a band. And, it's really cool to kind of like realize it started like at such a young age, and to kind of look back and be like, oh, like the development's kind of crazy. So, yeah, it's nice to be here again for sure.
Yeah, and we've got you just after releasing your debut single.
Yeah.
And you'd had music as part of Ruby and Stella. You had music, you'd been playing and like playing shows acoustically or singer-songwriter type stuff as well. But this is your debut. You're kind of launching this project, Stella Hannagan, and you've launched it with a track called The House.
Yes, I have.
I'm off the floor. The house doesn't exist. In the garden, only grows in the abyss. I try.
It's really, really good. And
Thank
I
you.
think when we saw the song was released, it's like I didn't know what to expect, but the elements of production and the style of that song is really, really cool and different. And obviously puts your ability center stage. So tell us about that track to start with and why you chose to kind of launch the project with it.
Yeah. You know, like I've had that song for a few years, and the content of it was something that I had kind of like worked on. Like I'd always like really been drawn to like the idea of like houses and kind of like what they represent and how you can have home and have home taken away. Like it's something so simple, but that felt really profound to me. And so I kind of sat down and with this idea and started writing something that kind of was like, I don't know, contradicting like this imagery of just like doing like everyday like household tasks with like insane like existential anxious thoughts, like literally like, I don't exist, like type of thing. And it kind of started like as a little bit of like a joke with myself. And then as I developed it more and more, I was like, oh, I feel like this could really be something interesting. And I started working with my producer, who's also like a collaborator and kind of now like a long-term friend. His name's Joe Sergi. And we started working together a couple of years ago. It's actually kind of a funny story. My mum was talking to him when he was working at Macron Music before it closed down in Erina Fair. And she was like, you know, my daughter's looking for like production software. And he like recommended her a bunch of stuff. And she was like, do you think you could teach her how to use it? She has no idea what she's doing. So he kind of started basically teaching me how to use Logic. And from that point on, we started like properly working together and basically just recording out of his place in Hornsby. And so that's what we've been doing for like this whole project, basically the building of the EP. And he's, you know, had such an amazing like impact on me. And he's one of the reasons why that song is so interesting and unique, and why I really feel like I've kind of like been like brave enough to like step into a sound that felt like really authentic to me and felt like it was, you know, really, I don't know, weird a little bit, kind of unique, kind of like elements of, you know, some of my favorite artists, like to name a few, like Radiohead, Phoebe Bridgers, Fiona Apple, and kind of bringing all of those elements of, you know, the artists that inspire me the most, and then, you know, figuring out, okay, but like, where am I? And I don't know, I think that's a journey that all artists kind of go on. But that song, I remember when completing it, I was like, I really want to release this one first. Like, it just felt like, I don't know, really emblematic of all the work we'd done and like how far I felt I had come sonically. And yeah, it's really cool to see it all kind of come together and to see people enjoy it. Like, even like making the music video and stuff was really gratifying, because it's like kind of exactly how I imagined, or like exactly how I saw it in my head. And it's cool to see it like as something tangible and real and be like, oh yeah, like we made that happen. So yeah, I'm really proud of it.
Epic. And very rarely do you manage to make things as they are in your head, to create something as it is in your head. It is very satisfying feeling when you're able to achieve it. Tell us about the process of filming that video and going and making that as well, because we do have you in person at the moment, which is great, but you have moved from the Central Coast to Melbourne.
Yeah.
So was it down there? Was it up here? And how did that all come about?
So actually Ruby's mum, Kay Harrison, was the director of photography, and she's amazing. She's an amazing videographer, and
she was doing video on the day that we met.
Yeah.
Too, for the festival too. She was doing all the videography stuff there.
Yeah. And I reached out to her not knowing if, you know, our schedules would align, but kind of hoping that it could work because, you know, I love her a lot. But also she was like, yeah, like I'd love to get involved, and working together was really amazing. And along with a couple of my other friends, we kind of filmed at my old house on the day, because we know, so to give a little bit of backstory also to the song. So I wrote it a couple years prior to us having to like sell our house, but basically like it was a bit of an emotional time for the family. We had to sell, you know, the family home, and I was like really upset about it. And then in the back of my mind, I was thinking about this song that I'd kind of tabled, which is another reason why I kind of wanted to release it. And I was like, did I manifest this? Is this my fault? Like, so I was like, okay, this is also another piece of law. I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place. But last year I went traveling for 7 months across Europe, Turkey, Southeast Asia, and I was on this really long bus. I think it was like from Athens to Istanbul. My friend and I booked this crazy, insane, like 24-hour bus because we wanted to save money. And I was like a little bit delirious, sleep deprived, and I started like, I was listening to the demo of the house, and I started kind of like all these like images started coming to me, and I was like, I had this like feeling, I was like, I really, really want a music video, and I want part of it to be at the old house. Like I was like, I wonder if we can make that happen, thinking that it probably wouldn't. And we were able to actually film there. And yeah, it was really amazing. So it feels like kind of like a goodbye to the place as well. So when my family got to see it as well, it was really sweet, like for it all to come together. And it was kind of like a real moment of closure, I think, for everyone as well. And then we filmed it also at the Bloom Barn farm. So I don't know if you guys know, it's like, I think they're out in Pete's Ridge. It's where you can pick sunflowers.
I've seen the Instagram
so
photos.
yeah. We shot the EP cover there, and then we also filmed other aspects of the video where it kind of goes from like the house to the field. And I was also really like, I wanted the editing to be super, super specific. So like in the music video, it like flicks to certain parts like at a very given time, and I poured like over the clips for kind of like hours trying to like figure out like, okay, which one would be best here, which one would be best there. And yeah, so everything about the music video is super, super intentional. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to my friends and to Kay for, you know, helping it all come together, because I think it really breathes new life into the song as well, which is really nice to have.
So what did you do? Just knock on the door of your old house and be like, hey, I used to live here. I want to film a music video here.
Yeah, that's basically how it went. No, I just called the family up. They were kind of like, I think they were distant friends of my parents, then became like friends like in the sale of the house a little bit. So my mum just gave me the number of
that's helpful.
The dad, and yeah, he was super down, and everyone was really, really sweet. It couldn't have happened without them. So shout out to the family from my old house.
So it's interesting because obviously you had this family home, then you went traveling, now you're living in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So your perception, and you're up here just for the week visiting family, which is why you're up here in the studio with us.
Yeah.
We're very grateful that the timing all worked out.
Yeah.
That you're in here in person. But now that you're back home, I guess, on the Central Coast, what is your perception of home now? Is it Melbourne? Is it the Central Coast? Is it less of a location and more of when I'm around family, I feel at home?
Yeah, it's a good question because I think it's like such a transitional period, like for me in my life in general. I feel like I have many homes and also none at the same time. And I think...
Sorry, also you moved to Melbourne was at the start of this year.
Yeah.
So you haven't been down there for, a long enough time to feel like Melbourne is home too.
Yeah. I think in a way, because I'm living down there with my auntie.
Okay.
So that's definitely like an element of like security and home that I feel really grateful to have. So in a way, I do honestly feel quite settled there already. It's been probably around 5 or 6 weeks, a month and a half since I've been there. And yeah, I'm really liking it so far. But I think in terms of like my perception of home, I think it's everything and nothing at the same time, which is kind of like what I think the song encompasses too a bit.
That's very interesting. And it's just to go back to the video, I think that's like the dream of anyone who's ever had a home that was significant to them that's had to move away from it, is to be able to go one day and just knock on the door, maybe not to film a music video, but to knock on the door and be like, hey, can I just like look in your house? Can I just have a look around? Because such is the power of these buildings that we spend our lives in. Yeah,
it's like very emotional, very symbolic. It was like very surreal being back there. We didn't film like on the inside or anything, but even just like, catching a glimpse through a window and being like, wow, that's different. It's a bit of a mind fuck.
Yeah,
but like,
and that's not our couch.
I know, it's like, wait.
Your style is off.
No, but yeah, so the outside was very much kind of like as I remember it, but it was strange getting like those little glimpses of like how different it was. And yeah, it just made it all the more meaningful, I think, to be able to do that. So it was really special.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like the memories, obviously, they carry with you. But like when you look at the home, like there'll be a few times like, so my nan and pop passed away and I drove past where they lived like semi-regularly. And I'm just like, it'd be nice just to knock on the door and just be able to, I don't know, go there again.
Yeah.
Because it's like such a part of, you have family gatherings and there's all these memories attached to the location. We're the same when mum and dad sell their place. Like we've been there since I was 5. And, when I go back home now, it's like, this is all, like it all just sort of comes back and it does feel homely.
Yeah.
But then, when they'll eventually move on and sell it and downsize and do all the stuff that you do, it'll be like, growing up in that house and then it's not ours anymore.
Yeah.
It's a weird...
This is wrong.
And everyone experiences it. And it's interesting because I feel like that's not like I wasn't necessarily writing the song about that, but I feel like that's what it has like become to a lot of people who've resonated with it. And like touching on what you said about home before, I think now I also think of it a lot as like kind of like losing homes you have in people you loved and had to let go as well. So I think like the metaphor is now just really drawn out to like a lot of things in my life and in the lives of my close friends and family. And I think that's why it's, connected with them, which has been really nice to see.
Yeah, even like, I was at a rental for 12, 18 months in Kincumber. And I had a package delivered there by mistake and I went around to collect it and just knocking on the door and seeing other people's belongings in the hallway and I was like, this is a weird feeling. I used to walk through that door every day and now it's like I need to knock and wait for someone to answer it. It's really
do you mind if we just film a podcast in here? But it is really cool. I'm interested in like your take as a musician on the changing nature of meaning. Like, because so a lot of artists, there's like the meaning is fixed for them. Other artists are very happy for interpretation to span very widely. And then other artists acknowledge the fact that, does the meaning of a song to that individual or the artist can change as time goes on. So where do you sit with all of that in terms of your own creative process? Do you have an assigned meaning that you like to hang on to, or do you want to throw it out there and let it take its own form?
Oh, look, I think with anything you create, there's like a certain feeling, meaning, like something that feels really personal to you attached to it always. And I think that is unchanging and fixed. And I also think that meaning is like, it gets more complicated when you talk about audience perception and when you talk about what other people are thinking, because I think a lot of the time when you're too focused on like external perception, it can kind of ruin the actual process of it all. Like, obviously it's amazing to see people connect with and resonate with someone even in, maybe a different way to what was originally intended. But at the same time, it's, I don't know, like particularly with like social media and having to promote, it feels like just very inauthentic at times and kind of like a grueling aspect of the process, even though it's kind of what you have to do to get yourself out there nowadays. And I think that process in and of itself kind of, opens that door for more people to interpret and more people to, give their, impression of their understanding, which I think is a beautiful thing. But at the same time, like, I don't know, this might sound weird, but I don't necessarily want to make music for other people. Like, I want to make it for me and then like put it out there, and like if it's received in a certain way, then that's amazing. But I think if you get too caught up in that, like, I don't know, the other side of that process, that it can feel pretty unfulfilling. And like it, I don't know, I never want to get to a point where it doesn't matter like, what sound I want to pursue or what I want to create. And I don't know, I think I see a lot of that online as well, and with other people being like, oh, if you like this artist, then you'll like me. And if you liked it, and it's like, okay, like fair. But that's not necessarily like how I want to promote myself or how I want to put myself out there. Like if it's harder, then so be it. But I think, being authentic and genuine is something I really, really prioritize, and something I really seek out in music that I like as well, and artists that I respect. So kind of took a bit of a diverge there, but meaning to me, I don't know, it's fixed like in some songs, but then it also changes over time. So I think it really depends on the song. But I think in terms of like audience interpretation in general, it's important to kind of have your head on straight and be like, okay, I'm doing this for me though at the end of the day.
Yeah, in terms of the meaning behind the song, I guess, as you evolve as to how you reflect on your emotions during that time. And therefore, that's how the song can take on new meaning. And, if you want a fulfilled career, like you're talking about there, then writing music for you is got to be the number one priority, because as soon as you stop doing that, it becomes more of a task. It becomes a chore. It becomes, you're not as engaged, and therefore the product's probably not as good either.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think it would definitely hinder, what I put out. And I mean, as long as I like what I'm making, I think that's great. And I don't know, I think also we kind of live in a day and age where audiences, they want to see you grow and evolve and develop your sound. They don't necessarily want to see you stay in one lane, and you don't have to. Yeah. Whereas I think, sometimes in the past, like if someone, has a really dedicated fan base, but they only like, this specific avenue of this specific artist, and if they want to branch out and do something else, it's like, well, fuck them. It's like, well, what's the point of that then? Like, you can't grow, you can't evolve, you can't do what you want. Like,
double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
The amount of musicians who, we like your first few albums, but your recent stuff's crap, and it's like, well, I'm just evolving as an artist. My taste is changing.
Then don't listen to it.
I want a new challenge, and I do think a lot of audiences, if you're authentic to who you are and yourself, then that's how they connect.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's, the music that you want to make and create.
And that's the through line. Like, that's why people will stay with you and care about what you make. It's
Look
you.
at Taylor Swift. We haven't made a Taylor Swift reference for a while. We went just about every podcast while I was doing a reference. But, like, her sound has changed a lot, even back and forth a little bit throughout the years. But a lot of her music is true to who she is and her beliefs and, like, her stories. And her fans love it and they stick with her, whether it's folk, whether it's country, whether it's pop.
I actually saw Tom York last year.
Ooh.
I would say the same about like Radiohead and how they've, been able to evolve over time and do so many different things and so much cool shit.
Did he strike you as a dick? Because I've heard that.
You know what?
A lot.
Like, I feel like some people are allowed to be kind of a dick.
If anyone is, it's Tom
Like, if
York.
you're that talented, like, okay. No, but honestly, no. To be honest, like, he's genuinely just like masterful and so inspiring. Radiohead are definitely one of my favorite bands. And I was like, in my brain just then, I was like, of course you brought up Radiohead because I do a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
it's natural. Like, you're a musician, you're talking about music that you enjoy, music you're creating and what you're inspired by. So of course it's going to come up quite a bit.
Of course.
Yeah. And it's Radiohead.
Yeah, and it's
Radiohead. I mean,
Your move to Melbourne, was
Yeah.
that mainly for music purposes or?
honestly, I've just always wanted to live there. I think that I would love to like I'm still very much adjusting and like trying to get my head kind of straight, but I would love to, start gigging and integrate myself into the scene a little bit. I think it's just amazing. There's so many opportunities to kind of showcase like just an immense amount of local talent over there. And yeah, it's just cool. Like there's just lots of things to do and there's just a lot of culture. It like feels like inspiring to like be kind of contained by that, like be surrounded by that. So yeah, I've really liked it so far. And it's just it's a really cool place. And I think a lot of people like think Melbourne's cool or like say they have good experiences with it. And, I grew up, going to my auntie's place who I live with now and being like, oh, this is so cool. And yeah, I just have so many memories attached to it. So yeah, it's really nice to live there now and to feel like I've moved out and I still feel like I'm a kid, but I'm doing my best. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tricky and it's a very transformative period. Like you mentioned, 7 months of travel to moving to interstate to then launching this project, which has clearly been bubbling away in the background throughout all of that.
Yeah.
How are you feeling personally? Like, is it kind of like everything's changing, let's go now? Or was none of this kind of planned to happen in the sequence that it has and it's just fallen that way?
I think that I kind of decided that I wanted to release the song on my, like, because I released it on my 20th birthday. Like, my whole life I've had this thing about, like, aging and, like, falling behind, and I just wanted to, like, kind of say, like, fuck you to, like, all of my, like, self-doubt, being like, oh, you, like, because, like, I don't know, I feel like I've kind of protected myself in a way by not releasing music up until this point, up until I felt like I was really ready. But in other ways, I look at some of my other friends who have, done it, prior, like a couple years prior even, and gone, oh, like, I'm not there, or everyone has their own, like, journey. Like, comparison is literally, it'll kill you. Like, it's just so unproductive. And so I was, like, really set on, releasing it on the 10th of January, which is my 20th birthday this year. And so I came back from traveling, basically finished tidying up the EP, which we still have a couple things to do, but that'll be released later this year as well. And yeah, then released a song, and a couple weeks later moved. And I was like, oh, okay, this is happening. And I'm glad, like, it was fast paced, but it was good. It took me a second to catch my breath, but I am, like, proud and excited, and I feel like it was definitely the right thing to do. I am an anxious person, so I'm, like, constantly, like, looking for reasons to, like, not do things, but I don't know, like, especially taking the leap to travel last year, and it just made me want to move more. Like, I'd been thinking about it for so long, and so I don't know if I would have if I didn't go and do that, but it feels like a really nice progression, and I feel like I've grown a lot in the past like year and a half. So I'm very grateful for it all.
Yeah, traveling will do that. It's great for, especially. Did you go with friends?
Yeah, well, I actually went with one friend who is probably like my best friend.
Yeah.
Her name's Ella, and we did like the full
Good
7
name.
months together. Yeah, Stella and Ella.
Oh, Stella and Ella.
Oh, Stella and Ella.
No, the amount of times we would like introduce ourselves to people and they'd be like, "Oh, Stella and Ella," and we'd like have to act like we'd never heard it before. Like, "Oh yeah," like.
There's a sitcom ready. Bring it back to TV.
Oh my god! Well,
Stella
maybe
and
one day.
Ella,
I keep telling her we got to do it. Sign that deal.
or a podcast, or music duo.
Yeah, I'll just. Do you want me to call her?
do.
She can come in.
Yeah. Come join us.
No, but yeah. So Ella and I were friends from school. We were like pretty good friends, but we weren't like super close. And we kind of just like, you want to go? You want to go? Okay. And like we didn't really like think about it all that much, but we traveled so well together. Like we just were on the same wavelength, and like sometimes you're just not with like the friend
It is
that
such
you travel with. So it's like you have to like be kind of like judicious, like picky, because we were both kind of like, I don't know, we like have like a bit of a slower start some mornings and are like okay with like having, because you need rest days when you're traveling for that long. You can't be like, let's sightsee 3 things every day. Like you're gonna burn out, you're gonna get sick, like things are gonna happen. So we were really good about like being on each other's level and pacing, and yeah, it was so good. It brought us so close, and she's in Melbourne too. So
cool.
yeah, it's so nice to like live pretty close to each other, and we still hang out all the time. So shout out Elsie.
That's cool.
Because like your first overseas trip,
Yeah.
especially if you're with friend and not family or something, it is a very like, okay, I need to like I'm by myself and this friend, like we're two young people on the other side of the world, traveling, catching our own flights.
Oh my god.
Figuring out public transport in different languages, like you're doing all of those things. You sort of not grow up quickly, but you're like, hey, I need to do shit for myself.
Oh yeah.
And then that
100%.
in itself is a growing experience.
Yeah.
And then what are we doing for dinner?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Do we go
Like,
out again?
Yeah.
Do we just get microwave meals because
Yeah.
we're running low on cash?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things, and plus obviously culturally, like seeing much more historical countries than our own, like and all the landmarks and all of that too.
And so much of it is like as glamorous as it seems. Like it's amazing. Like it's so lovely. Then you do have those moments where you're tired. You've traveled 12 hours. And then you're like, oh my God, I have to cook because I can't afford to like, and it's just like, oh my God. But you know, like when you're with someone that you get along with so well, like everything's funny. Like we'll go through like the most traumatic like travel day or like almost get like mugged, and then we'll just be like, cool. Like it's fine actually. So yeah, it's good. Like, I don't know. I think your mindset's really important in some of those moments because, I don't know, traveling for that length of time, it's definitely like a commitment, but
How long were you overseas for?
7 months.
Holy. I was away for 2 months and I was like, this is already like a lot.
Yeah.
7 months is a long time.
It's like changing all the time. Like we went so many places and I'm really, really grateful for it. But yeah, it was pretty intense at times. And
Europe?
Yeah, so like we did tons of countries in Europe, and then we also did Turkey and Southeast Asia too.
Top 3 cities, go.
Lisbon in Portugal. Doolin, Ireland.
Doolin?
Yeah.
You're
Little
pronouncing
town.
Dublin wrong.
Yeah, Dublin's also great, but little town on the west coast of Ireland.
Right.
Incredible. Such nice people. There was this landmark called the Cliffs of Moher.
Oh, I've been there.
Have you?
Yes, because I went to Dublin and we did a day trip out there.
No way. Yeah.
Stunning. Freezing. I went
Oh
in
my
winter
God,
and
so
the
cold.
wind coming off those
We
cliffs.
didn't have raincoats and it started raining.
Oh, dear.
And like there was this one time I was like carrying like my jumper above my head and it's like the rain's like dripping through it like on my head and I'm like, what have I done? But it was amazing. And then third city, Cassis in France. It was like this little town in the south of France. So that's my top 3.
Excellent composed response there. I feel like if I was asked the same question after a 7 month trip, I'd be like, and then I'd combust.
Yeah, I've actually thought very long and hard about this because I've been asked it a lot, so I've had time to compose. Okay. So it is actually like a rehearsed answer at this point because like there are so many places I loved, but I just have to stick to those 3 now because I'm like, I know it. Can't go off script, sorry.
Like a well-trained actor.
Yeah.
Did you take a diary or journal or do anything like that while you're over there? Because I'd imagine not only is it just good to reflect on these memories, but as a songwriter, you might be able to find inspiration out of that too.
100%. I didn't journal every day. I tried to, and then I was just like, boring. But I wrote a lot of songs, and I was like on GarageBand, like making stuff too, which is kind of where one of the songs that I'll later release, it's like a little bit more on like that electronic side, was born as well, because it literally came from a demo that was just like me going do 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 do, like what the fuck. It's called Free of You, and it's like, I'm proud of that one too. I feel like with the EP as a whole, there's a lot of like variety, like even with my next single that comes out in 10 days.
Well, hang on, we need to think about
wait.
It's possibly already released when this airs. We're recording this in March, but it's not out until April.
It came out on the 30th of March then.
It will have been released.
and the reason I just
here.
Link below.
But I live in the feelings I don't vocalize. I made my bed in my subconscious and
literally, and the reason why which we really need to stress is that this is recorded at a different time to when people listen to it. People don't listen live, as I've made really abundantly clear over a number of episodes.
Which is a very well-known thing about podcasts. But I feel like there is just the hang-up we have from being on radio for 6 and a bit years. Like, we're just used to broadcasting live, and now it's like, this is recorded. Everyone knows it's recorded because it is a podcast.
We're at pains to constantly explain to our listeners that no, in fact, this is a different time that you're listening to it to when it was recorded. So I'm glad that's all really, really clear now.
Yeah,
so I've had countless messages from our listeners saying thank you so much for clarifying every episode because I always forget. You know?
Yeah, we had to order someone to hire someone to sort through the mail. It was crazy. But all that aside, you do have this EP on the way. So before we get to the EP, I'm curious about the question you mentioned before that you wanted to wait until you were ready. And you're watching other people and kind of doing that comparison thing, which we all do, which can be very unhealthy. I would stress that you're 20. So it feels like you're at the start of a journey, whatever that is. I don't even know what I was doing when I was 20.
Probably in Prague when you were 20, were you?
I think I might have been.
Yeah, that's
good
pretty
question.
sick.
Good question. Yeah. But I definitely didn't.
We travelled around the same-ish time.
Yeah.
To Europe. And I think I was... Yeah, it was around that same age.
Okay, that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. But nearly 9 years later, I'm, like you're just kind of figuring it out now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're all over it is what I'm trying to say. But you mentioned that feeling.
Trust me, I'm still figuring it out.
Well, you're a lot further along that journey than we were.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
That feeling of, you said you knew you weren't ready. So what made you feel like you were ready to launch into this? What was the point, if it was a defined point? And then we'll get to the EP after that. But I just was curious when you mentioned it about what made you feel ready.
Yeah, to be honest, like sometimes I'm like, like, I don't know. I feel like in general, sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I guess everyone has am I even ready for anything? Am I even ready for life in general? But I don't know. I think that song like felt like I was just like, I want to put this out. Like it felt like really right. It felt like the right timing. It felt like I was also kind of like proving a point to myself to be like, you know what, just do it then. Like just release a song. So I did. And I don't know. I was kind of just wanting to like win that battle with myself a bit and be like, you know what, like you have worked really hard on this. Like stop tinkering with it, just put it out because you're proud of it. And so I'm happy it's out, and it kind of like has like forced me to then kind of like go, okay, let's go, like another single, maybe another one after that, then EP. and like kind of get on track with it, which has been good. So yeah, I'm the kind of person, I like feeling like I'm moving forward, like there's momentum, like we're going somewhere. So it was good to just kind of like, I think, pull the trigger on it, because I'd worked really hard on it and like developed it to a point where I was like, yeah, like this feels like me, and it feels like I'm also like pushing myself, like, and like there's still places to go, because there's lots of places to go. So yeah.
Note to self, pull the trigger should be the title of this podcast.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
call. Great call.
Just think this is anyway, we don't need to go into the mind of any of that. Yeah, momentum's I think a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
Because I think as most like human beings, you want to feel some sort of, whether it's growth as a person or there's something, you know, in your professional life, you just want some sort of momentum and some sort of continuous growth, because if you feel like you're stalling or you're sinking or drowning or whatever the case is, no one wants to feel that way.
Yeah.
After you'd released it, did you have a moment of, oh, maybe I could have done that 2-3 years ago? Or were you like, because I know I've done, like when I bought a house, I was like, shit, like I'm not ready for this. And then it happened. I was like, like, you know, big decision and, you know, a lot of money and whatever else. But it was like, oh, okay, wasn't as big as I made it in my head. So I was curious, when you released that song, were you like, oh, that was easy? Or were you like, I'm glad I waited?
I think I definitely could have released things earlier. I wouldn't be the musician that I am now, though. And I wouldn't like have developed the sound to the point that it was, that I felt like, oh, this is kind of cool, you know, like listening back to it being like, oh, like I like all those little things we did, or, you know, like I feel proud of it as a piece, as a composition, not just as, you know, a song. So I'm really glad I waited, because it wouldn't be what it is without that time, and without, literally, if you think about it as well, without like me going on the gap year last year and working out like, okay, what do I actually, you know, want to represent as an artist? Like, what do I want my sound to be, you know? So I think without all of that, it wouldn't have come together the way that it has, and I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Did you take anything on your travels, either sonically or culturally or whatever, that you've then adapted into your music or yourself as a person or something like that? Like 7 months is a long time. You can actually absorb a lot of things that you're experiencing over there, as opposed to if you're doing, you know, a 30-day Kentucky tour, it's just go, 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 and you're spending all the time on a bus. Like 100%. It's a very different experience.
I think I more so ideologically benefited a lot from the time I learned to let go, to kind of like let things be, and to be okay with change. And like, I've never been that good with change. Like I'm like, which might sound kind of crazy considering I just like packed my entire life away and moved. But like, it wasn't easy in a sense to do that either, but I wanted to, so I did. But I think traveling really, like, it kind of expanded, I don't know, my perception of like what I thought I was capable of. I never thought I was like, you know, this strong person, or someone that could, you know, bounce back from adversity or things that happened over there, but you just have to. And it like, yeah, I think it mended my relationship to myself a little bit in that way, because I never thought of myself as the kind of person that could deal with like difficult stuff, or could like operate well under duress, and then just having to, and then doing it and being like, oh, okay, that was kind of cool. I think that's honestly what I learned the most, and I think that's something that I have to like continue calling back to, honestly, like every day. Sometimes like the smallest tasks, you need manpower. So yeah, I think that's probably something that I took the most out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a great advertisement for why you should travel too.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
very good.
If you have the means and you want to do so, I would recommend it to anyone at any point in their life if they're able to.
Yeah.
Because it's just so expansive. It's incredible.
And expensive.
Yes, that too. I did work for several months before leaving and saved up a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
So in terms of the EP, what can you tell us about it? And this is across the spectrum. Do we have a name? Can you reveal it? Is there any conceptual links to it and sonically as well? Because you've mentioned we've got the house, which is this kind of dreamy with a bit of haunt in it, piano, awesome song, and then you've got this electronic one that you've mentioned as well.
Yeah.
So where is it going in this EP? If it's easy to sum up for you.
Yeah. So the next single is like quite a diverge in that it's very stripped back and kind of raw and a bit more songwritery-esque. But I want to have like a spectrum of sound on there and like different things that we played around with that kind of showcases songs as they were written, and then kind of like that blend between those synthetic elements too. And what I really loved about making The House, the song as well, was being able to blend like those electronic samples in with those like more acoustic sounds and like finding like a weird mishmash between them, which I was then like, I want to do this in like all my music. Like this is great. Like being able to, I don't know, again, like this is one of the things that I think benefited me so much waiting to release music. Like I just would have never thought that possible a year ago or 2 years ago. Now it's like, oh, you can actually do all this cool stuff, like being able, like learning how to self-produce as well, and like figuring out like different weird things you can do. It's like, yeah, it's a big reason of why that song is the way it is. And so the EP is kind of like, I don't know, I guess on like a bigger scale, like a blend between that kind of synthetic world and like the more acoustic organic sounds, and some songs lean into more of one element than the other. And so I think there's also like an overarching theme. I think it's, as of right now, this is subject to change. It's going to be called Home. There's another song on there called Home, and it feels like the conceptual resolution to The House.
So the house and home.
Yeah. So, yeah, as of right now, that's what it is. But yeah, I'm keen to have it out there. I think it's got like a wide range of, I guess, the stuff I like making.
And I guess it's not a never-ending supply of connections, but house, home, garage, shed. You can start, really expanding, the bedroom, you've got the kitchen, the study.
Yeah.
The left-hand rear garden bed.
In 10 years, it's going to be like, townhouse, branch out cul-de-sac, or a neighborhood.
Yeah, and this is how you get your music featured on like Better Homes and Gardens or like Grand Design or something like that,
Yeah, Selling Sunset.
Yeah. It's an exclusive deal for the Better Homes and Gardens music.
That can be quite a lucrative business for a lot of musicians.
That's
but
true.
As we've already discussed, you're making music authentic to you and music you want to make. You're not making music just for the sake of it being played on a TV show or a TikTok sound grab or something.
There's a lot of that happening, I think, too.
Yeah, and at your age, are you on TikTok quite a lot? Because I imagine we're a little bit older, so less of our peers are actively engaged on it, but for your generation it'd be the social media.
Yeah, I would say I try to stay off it. I think sometimes like doom scrolling can rot your brain a bit, but I have a TikTok account and I post about music on there. It's Stelle Sings if you want to check it out. Little plug. But yeah, I don't know, I try and stay off the app when I'm not like doing a little bit of promo here and there. I'm not very consistent with it, but I try and do things here and there to just keep the wheels turning because it's a part of the job.
Momentum.
Yeah.
Momentum, yeah.
And what's your relationship with it? Like I can sense that there's probably that tension that we experience a lot with artists. That is like, I'm not that into it, but I see it as necessary, and I can see why it's beneficial.
Yeah.
But what is your relationship with it as well? Because you're a bit younger than us, so we can't relate necessarily to how those things work within different generations too. It's like we had our own experience with it, and it's be very similar in a lot of ways, but there's other things that you notice and you go, that would be quite different. I wonder how they approach or feel about it. So do you have that same kind of, like if I was to speak for us, if I could speak for us, we probably have a bit of a like, huh, to social media.
Yeah.
But it's still also been like a part of our lives forever and we still use it regularly. But is that the same kind of feeling that you have, or is it slightly different?
I think that, for any artist that's like doing this and like really cares about it, like feels like they need to do it, like music is like in them, I think there's always going to be that like love-hate relation, not necessarily love, maybe just like hate relationship with social media and promotion and marketing and all this. Like it really is a business, and like I'm still learning about it. I still feel like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time, but I like try and research and like figure out like, you know, what works. Like I set up a website, I like upload things on Unearthed, and you kind of like chuck things into the void a bit with like the best like aim that you can and hope that something sticks. Like that's part of it. Part of it is like luck, and obviously posting on TikTok for some people, like they, you know, get really famous from it, and, you know, other people will never see, their career won't see the light of day from it. It's really all about luck, and people say consistency too, but again, like it's hard to be consistent when it feels so like manufactured and inauthentic. Like it's there are ways to do it. I try and approach it in like, I don't know, the most genuine, raw, real, normal way that I can. Like I'll just set up my phone, sing something and be like, post, or, you know, I like might make something that's a little bit more tailored, or be like, oh, I have something coming out, and, you know, let people that follow me on there know. But at the same time, it's really difficult to navigate that side of it. And like I said before about audience, like separating your worth and your, you know, artistry from like how it's being received. And if something, you know, you really care about doesn't get like, you know, 1 million views, and you're like, oh, well, that means I'm shit. It's like, no, that doesn't mean you're shit. It's just, you know, it's algorithmic. Like you just have to kind of like make sure you have that separation, because it's hard. It's definitely hard.
And they change all the time too. Like that's what you're talking. It's like such an apt comparison. I know. You're just you're aiming as best as you can. You're throwing things in there, and you're hoping they work. And sometimes, and we hear this so often. Sometimes it's like a great success for an artist, and other times the thing that they thought would be so successful gets zero. Yeah. And you're just constantly trying to navigate this thing that you don't understand.
Or sometimes you'll be like working on something meticulously, then you throw something out there that you like record in a night. And you're like, you have this big project coming up that you're about to promote. You like post a cover and it starts going bonkers, and you're like, oh my God. And it's like, yeah, that's also great too, but it's just, you can't attach too much expectation to these things as well, because it's just like things will catch on and people will like what they like, and as long as you are just continuing to do it for you, that's all you can hold on to. That's literally all you have. So that's what I try and remember, but it's hard. You like post something and you're like, oh, I got no views, like it's embarrassing, and it's like, no, it's not. It's
a lot of it is out of your actual control.
Yeah, well, 100%.
Based on the way the algorithms work and everything. And I'd almost liken it to throwing a dart at a dartboard, and very few times you hit the bullseye. More often than not, they bounce back and hit up the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm interested in your perspective. I don't even know if you can speak to this at all. This is like a broader question that I've been thinking about a bit lately. But the idea that like, so you're an artist, and social media is as a means of communicating with an audience and growing that audience. But so often with the moments of virality that exist online, they are very fleeting. Yeah. So people can achieve this like enormous viral success, but very few people sustain it, and often it's like over and done. And the way that we consume media now, and the way that everyone's attention spans are getting so cooked, is that they're kind of onto the next thing already. And so I like liken it to, to bring it back to something kind of relatable, to like going on music talent shows. It's like you have your big moment, you win it, congratulations, and then everyone moves on to the next thing. Yeah. So as an artist, do you really look at social media knowing that that's how we consume it and how the cycle seems to work at the moment? Well, yeah. Do you look at it and go like, this is a tool worth trying to get that big break out of? Or is everyone kind of doomed to, there'll be like one that'll like use social media to leapfrog, and the others might have a moment that passes.
Yeah. I think personally it's not necessarily about having that moment. If you like are out there for a consistent amount of time and you've amassed like a small audience of people who want to listen to you, like I think that's the best thing that could come out of social media. It's not necessarily about having these, like you said, fleeting moments of virality. It's more so about building an audience that actually cares about you. Like 1,000 listeners is like worlds better than 1 million passive streams, you know, of people that who aren't actually invested in you as an artist, and who, you know, maybe your song goes viral on TikTok and then within a week the trend's over, and then what are you going to do? You're always going to be known as the, you know, XYZ girl. And then it's like that kind of pinholes your career too. So it's like, it's just like, it's a hard balance to strike. But I think everything, like as long as you can use all of these tools like that we have accessible to us, or I guess just work within the constraints of the world we live in, which is, you know, very media ridden, and try and capitalize on that to the best of your ability and build an audience that, you know, cares about you and, you know, would come to your shows and buy your merch and listen to your stuff. I think that's what's important.
Yeah, it's how you capitalize on those moments.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned the music talent show, like whether it's The Voice or Australian Idol or something like that. You can win it and it's like, oh, yay, you won Australian Idol. But if you don't then go on and capitalize on that moment, then it's like, okay, what, you know, there's so like, many winners on those shows. You're like, I have no idea what happened to them.
Because it's like, how do you even like that also raises, how are you supposed to then take that and make something of it? Like no one tells you how to. There's not a guideline. Like if you get thrust into fame and like lose it and then feel all down on yourself, it's like it's not necessarily your fault either. Like we're all just trying to like operate within the system really, and I think
is changing, as I mentioned before.
100%. So that's kind of how I view it. It's kind of like using it for elements of your career that can actually like have a lasting impact. Like if you're going online and, you know, like maybe like promoting a gig that people actually go to and then they're like, oh, we should go to more gigs. Like that's the kind of thing I think that actually has tact and like actually will give you an audience that, you know, wants to support you and show up for you and listen to you.
That's awesome, I reckon. Like that's like, without knowing how I felt about it, you've just summarized what I think is probably pretty bang on. And in terms of, we were speaking to Jack Parsons from the Pretty Littles, and he was saying like, you know, we have this, like, we don't tour as much, we're getting older, whatever, but we've cultivated this audience that like really loves us and is really engaged with our music. And when we do tour, they show up, and when we play to them, they sing the songs back. And it's like, they're not like selling out arenas around the world, but there was some clear contentness with that, really concentrated. And your line about passive streams versus active, or listeners versus passive streams, I think it's bang on at that. Whereas I suppose a lot of the time it looks like it's a lot of people or being pushed in a direction where they're chasing that, maybe that viral moment, that thing that's going to be that one, you know, thunderbolt that just lights them up. But I think probably the key is really to build that audience that cares and see social media as a tool amongst others to do that with.
Because if I see one more video that's like, I have the song of the summer, it's like you might have the song of the summer, but people are going to forget it. Like when winter comes around, you know, like I don't know, like seasons change, man. But I don't know. Again, like if you do that, more power to you. Everyone's just trying to make it work, really. And the audience thing is, I think, how I see, like, it's kind of how I rationalize like social media and like building something that's impactful and that isn't just, you know, that blip. And I don't necessarily think that like pursuing that big moment is like going to get anyone anywhere, really.
That's the thing too. If you're doing your whole career going, oh, one big moment and I'll be good, then you're not actually enjoying that journey. You're not really, you know, like all the music you're releasing now, if all of it's just to get to the top in 5 years, you know, in the next 5 years, when you're 30 and you go, oh, I never hit the peak of that.
Yeah.
Then you will look back on your journey and go, I've wasted it because I never got to that moment.
Yeah.
But if you're actually releasing music for the now and for the journey and for my emotions now and growing as a person, as an artist throughout the whole process, doesn't matter if you end up there or not, even though that's your goal. But as again, we'll turn to teenage dads, and Geordie said, don't have expectation, have a goal, but don't actually make that be the expectation for where you're going to end up.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And like you said, it's literally out of your control. If you make something that isn't in your control, your expectation, you're setting yourself up for failure. Just like give it your best crack. Like that's all you can really do.
Yeah, I mean, we're the exception to that rule because we expected to be number one podcast worldwide and we nailed that, just by a little, 10-second preview of.
And I'm honoured to be here.
Yeah. I think we're broadcasting it in other planets now. So it's pretty cool. But we didn't predict that. So
the aliens love us. We speak enough shit that it's probably the only, species where it actually relates to and makes sense is something that's not us.
Yeah, they just shoot it out into space and it's like, they broadcast messages to aliens in case they ever hear it. They just get homebrewed and they're going,
we're not going
what
to
the
Earth.
fuck, yeah.
we're keeping them away. Nothing good down there.
No. But Stella, we do have this EP on the way and we have a new single that will have already been released by the time people are listening to this. And I won't go any further into that as to why there's that difference. I'm joking.
Isn't it live?
I'm joking. So we've got that to look forward to. In terms of playing some of your songs live, is there anything in the works for that? You mentioned a desire to do that when you're in Melbourne. Is that on the cards?
It is. I am honestly, really keen to start playing a bit more over there by myself solo. So there'll be some things coming up.
Cool. And where can people find you if they do want to follow you and be a part of the audience actively?
Yes. My Instagram is Stella Hannagan. And my TikTok, if you're interested in that, is Stelle Sings.
Instagram will be linked in the show notes.
Yeah.
Of this, and I assume
I think I have a Facebook, but I don't really use it.
Same.
So sorry.
Just link them with Instagram, and then that's pretty much the end of it.
You just do the mutual post.
True.
Post to Instagram, it automatically goes to Facebook.
I feel like me not doing that is like my last rebellion against Meta. So I'm like, I haven't done that yet, but maybe I will. So we'll see.
Well, long live the rebellion.
Long live the rebellion.
Thank you so much for. We'll say you came up to the coast just for this interview.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Not to spend the week with your family.
It's factual, actually.
Yeah, 100%.
But thank you for coming up and spending the time with us. And good luck
so
in
much
Melbourne
for
and
having
for
me.
the EP.
Yeah.
We call you a Central Coast artist. Is that's just a lie now, isn't it?
Yes.
Just a
you
total
can.
lie.
I am born and raised, so
Okay.
absolutely.
Because that's a big thing. We just try and claim people who run away and that's still from the Central Coast. So yeah, is that okay?
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Neither would we.
Yay.
Sweet. All right.
Okay, brilliant.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Hey, so I guess you're probably reflecting on that one and you're wondering, whoa, who put that together? That was so really mad. Well, it was Cameron Smith, my good friend. It was also recorded at Sonora Studios in Tuggerah. Big thanks to Jack Negro for his generosity in using that space. And for more from us, head to our website, www.homebrewed.au.